9. What is fate? Kim, Jin Mi. I am Min Seo Yeon, master's student at S College of Agriculture. My undergraduate major is literature that will take place in P University. Why is my major different? Well, rather than going to study, I think I just wanted to go to S University. I entered the department that is the lowest in agriculture and easy to enter. When I entered, I thought of setting up a garden later with the intention of studying gardening, but somehow, humanities was not the place to go. I wonder that the professors let me enter the school. Agriculture college turned out to be a natural science major. I live in a dormitory, and my roommate's sister was a PhD student at Normal University. This older sister was the oldest in the whole dormitory. She was in her mid-40s. Only single people live in the dormitory. Married people have separate apartment-type dormitories. I'm in my late 20s, and this roommate sister has already completed her PhD, and has been undergoing thesis screening for 2 years. In the meantime, it is very persistent that the thesis is rarely passed. I asked this roommate's sister for her opinion because I was not cut out for the agricultural class. No, do you feel different when you come in and when you go out? If you can't get a master's degree, at least complete it, so that you can put it on your resume. Why did you come in? Well, my roommate is right. I'm going to go back to my Busan home after this semester. But I don't know what she's doing. What are you going to do if your thesis doesn't pass again this semester? Are you going to stay in the dorm? Yes, I'm going to stay until next semester, listen to everything I can, and if I'm here, it's good to be able to attend academic conferences and thesis presentations often. The cost of living is a bit burdensome, but I have to pass the screening by next semester somehow. You're going down now. Go ahead. I'll go down after the next semester. See you then in Busan. My sister and I both live in Busan. I'm helping my mother's work at home in Busan. My mom runs 2 restaurants, but she's struggling alone, so I'm helping her. Of course, after getting paid. Friends are rather envious of me. I don't have to go to work. But I just do housework because I can't get a job. It's the same routine every day, but time goes faster than when I'm at school. I called my roommate's sister. How's the screening going? But it didn't work out well. So my roommate said she was coming down now. We met at a downtown coffee shop and chatted for the first time in a while. Roommate sister's face is very damaged. Roommate sister is studying on her own, but she is very wary at home. She seemed to be scolded for not making money but for spending it. But whether this roommate sister tried not to get a job, that's not true. She's put everything she can on her resume for almost 20 years. But it just didn't work out at all. This roommate's sister is old, but she has no experience, so which job would she choose? I don't think the company will hire her because it's burdensome. I told my roommate sister to stop giving up. Not everyone can be a doctor. Sister, no one is being judged for that long. I was thinking about this. However, her roommate said she would never give up because of her indomitable will. I thought she wouldn't pass in the future, so we went home. I couldn't contact her for a while, but my roommate sister said she passed the screening of her doctoral thesis. She went back and forth to S University for screening at home and said she managed to pass. I asked her to give me a copy of her dissertation. She gave it to me. Well, what should I write, and wrote a common greeting. But I didn't read the paper. It was so long and difficult that I only read one of the 3 appendices at the end. Although she received her doctorate, she was still being beaten up at home without getting a common teaching position, let alone a job. Once a month we meet and talk about things. I'm still helping out with the restaurant, it's the same routine and she's been putting in her resume. To my mind, she has no connection, no sponsorship, this sister has no nosiness and has never done anything to look up to the professors. She was tactless in a word. Whether she was too slow or naive in her social life, she was the type that was far from successful anyway. She said, "I only study because I study. When I write a thesis, I only write a thesis." Students who looked good to professors would get a lecturer's seat, but the roommate seemed to have done nothing. No, she didn't have that line in her head at all. When I was studying for the master's course, I was loved by professors even if my grades were bad and I didn't do well, and I even thought that her professors might have deliberately nitpicked and eliminated the screening 7 times. Still, her thesis must have been excellent since she graduated. My roommate's sister was so stressed out studying for a PhD, that she gained 20 kilograms and even developed metabolic syndrome that her health was messed up. Her hair turned gray, too. Her hair turns gray when she's stressed out. I've only heard of her as a legend, but she's amazing too. She has been unemployed for a long time and has been struggling with her studies for so long that she has become a master of life. She was originally interested in philosophy, but she studied Sejong Myung Ri and Lee Ching hard and now has reached a certain level. Then she said she wanted to know why life was so twisted and not working out. However, she was indignant that it was strange and her life couldn't be worse if she had told her to do so, and she was so lucky, but why didn't she get along at all? Then she told me to study fortune telling. At first, there were many places where basic courses were taught, so I was told to take classes there and take private lessons after the basic courses. But I'm not listening, so one day she explained it to me by installing a fortune-telling program on my cell phone. She explained 12 GG and Yin Yang and Ohang for 10,000 years, and explained how to see the fate of the fortune teller, 10 stars, 12 sinsel, Chung Pahyungi, and so on. I learned fortune telling from my sister to people around me. For free, of course. She even bought me a meal and taught me how to buy a fortune telling. At first, I was indifferent, but at some point, I watched the video courses she sent me one by one, and I became more and more interested. And now I find myself and study. And I'm also studying why my life isn't working out. I broke up with my first love boyfriend because my parents and sister opposed it. I haven't seen any man since then. Roommate sister taught me how to be a fortune teller for free because she didn't want to tell me that it was hard to meet a man. As I studied fortune telling myself, I realized that my fate was such a bad fortune. And finally I realized 80% of human beings live happily ever after, 10% live better than fortune telling, and 10% live worse than fortune telling. Most people live on their own fate. But it's up to one's efforts whether it's 10% to overcome or less. Roommate sister is someone who tries to live a better 10% life with an indomitable will and effort. That's why she whipped me every time to live a life of 10% that I'd overcome. I went to the professor and told him that I wanted to go back to school and graduate.